Hey everybody, this is Adam with the Productivity Academy. Today I just want to give a quick intro to Evernote, and hopefully everyone is familiar with this. If not, I guess this would be helpful in terms of you discovering it, but hopefully you've at least heard of Evernote. So this is something I also use in conjunction with Todoist, and I find Evernote to be a better repository for longer term work. Maybe even just notes with a couple businesses I work with, keeping running information, notes on projects, things like that, where it's not so much maybe a to-do list, although you can set these up in Evernote as well. But for myself, I find it useful for longer term storage. So basically, we're looking at the web version. There is a desktop version available and mobile and all that. But the big two for me are notebooks and tags. Okay, and then you create notes. So in here we can just see I've got one notebook, and then I'm going to create a notebook. We're going to call this, sub notebook 1. Going to create that. Okay, and then you can put notes into it. Okay, and then you can create tags, and I'm going to go into this. So let's just create a new note. Okay, so this is kind of basics, and you can pick what notebook it goes into. Do I want it to go into this one? Do I want it to go into that one? We're just going to say that this is my test note. All right, and then we can just start typing and say this is my note. And this is some of the cool formatting. You can make checklists in here. Whoops. Things like that. So really easy to do. And then there's some options you can do. You can star things. You can add a reminder. You can trash it. You can copy the link. Okay, but I'm just going to do done here in a second. But first, I'm going to say, okay, I do want it in this notebook. But then tags are really powerful. And so there's whole courses built around this. You can just search for, Evernote tag, kind of getting things done type of stuff. And if people want, I can go into more detail on this. But you can nest notes. You can do a lot of different things. But it's really good to set this up. I would say start using Evernote and then kind of see what your common labels are, and that's how I think of them. I think of the tags in Evernote more as like project labels, although you could also think of that as the notebook. So it's really, you got some flexibility in how you set all this up. But I'll tag things. I'll have notebooks for like major projects. Like for a single business, I will have one notebook. But then I'll have tags that are more themed, and then I can go in and find things. And a good example of this might be I have a notebook that is work for things at home. I have another notebook that is like errands to run, and maybe a notebook for work I'm doing as a consultant. And then I may have a tag that crosses all of those, that is, something interesting about. That's going to be hard to cross all three of those, but maybe I have a note and I've got some information on it about a resource I came across that somehow applies to all of them. And so I could just use home, consulting, and errands, I think I'd said. Okay, and so once we do this, and we're going to save it. Okay, I don't obviously didn't set up notebooks under those names, but the idea here is you can now look at your tags and see. Okay, it's going to come up no matter which one I click on. Okay, so that's really a great way for me to be able to have some flexibility. But you do want to think this through and, generally set up tags. You don't want to have 100 tags, or else it becomes, to my mind, you start losing some of the utility behind that. Anyways, I think that's a good way to get it started. It's really flexible, but that's the way I try to use it. Is I have probably 8 or 10 notebooks, and then maybe 10 to 15 tags. And then that allows me to scan through and select things real quick. So hopefully this helps. I'll see you soon.